Hello, welcome again to my channel, and this time I'm going to discuss with you changing part 2. Changing partners? Of course not. Okay, so it is changing fractions into decimal numbers and vice versa. So what does that mean? Simple as rational numbers have two forms. One is your fractional form, and the other one is your decimal form. So just like what I had been doing in my tutorials, I'm going to give you examples, so hopefully that you will be able to find again an easier procedure on how to change your fractions into decimal numbers and decimal numbers back to its fractional form. So let us start. Okay, so let us take 1/2 as our first example. To change fraction into a decimal number, we need to divide the numerator by the denominator. So we have 1 divided by 2. Of course, we know very well that 1 does not consist 2. So we need now to add 0, where of course after a whole number we have your decimal point. Then from there you can add already 0. And for the answer, if you have already your decimal number, you need also to put your decimal point for the answer. We have now 10 divided by 2. And we know very well that 10 divided by 2 will give you 5. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. If we subtract, that is equal to 0, which would mean that 1/2 is equal to 0.5. It's 0.5. Okay, let's take another. Let us say 3 all over 4. So what shall we do with 3/4? Just like the first example, we did say that you are going to divide the numerator by the denominator 4. So of course, in 3, it does not consist 4. So you have now to place your decimal point and add 0. And from there, you have to put your decimal point also for the product. Then you start dividing. 30 divided by 4 will give us 7. 7 times 4 is equal to 28. We subtract and that will give you 2. You are again to add another 0. So 20 divided by 4 will give you 5. 5 times 4 is equal to 20. You subtract, it's equal to 0. Again, what does that mean? That 3/4 is equal to 0.75. Okay? How about if we have, let's take 3 all over 5, 3 over 5. So 3/5. So again, what shall we do? We divide the numerator by the denominator 5. Since there is no 5 in our 3, we need to add 0. So 30 divided by 5 will give you 6. 6 times 5 is equal to 30. You subtract is equal to 0. So, 3 all over 5 is equal to 0.6. Simple, isn't it? All you have to do is to divide your numerator by your denominator. So after looking at the process on how to change a fraction into a decimal number, this time let's try to see how we can bring back our decimal numbers into its fractional form. So let's take the same examples given. 1/2 is equal to 0.5. How are we going to change now 0.5 back into 1/2? The process is for you to make your decimal number a whole number. How are you going to do that? By moving your decimal point to the right as many times as there are decimal numbers. Since we have only 0.5, then we are moving the decimal point only once. That will give you 5. But the number of times you move your decimal point to the right will be the number of zeros you are going to place beside 1. So since we move only our decimal point once, we are adding 1 0 after 1. We have now 5 over 10. If you remember, in a fraction, if you can see that they are divisible with our common factor, you need to simplify your fraction by dividing the numerator and denominator by the common factor. And the common factor of 5 and 10 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1, and 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. So that 0.5 is now back to where it came from, and it is equal to 1/2. How about 3/4? We have 0.75. 0.75. What shall we do? You move your decimal point twice to the right. So moving your decimal point twice to the right, that will give you 75. Then what will happen on the denominator? 1 will be given how many zeros? 2 zeros, because you move your decimal point twice to the right. So, we have now 75 over 100. We know very well that 75 and 100 has a common factor of 25. So we are now going to divide both numerator and denominator by 25. 75 divided by 25 is equal to 3. And 100 divided by 25 is 4. Is now equal to 3/4. That 0.75 is now back to its fractional form, and that is 3/4. Similar is true with 0.6. 0.6. We move the decimal point 1, so you have now 6 divided by 1 has 1 0 because we move only the decimal point once. They are both divisible. 6 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3, and 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. 0.6 is now back on its fractional form, which is 3 all over 5. I am through again, friends, with this tutorial of changing fractions into decimals and likewise decimals into fractions. So hope that you are refreshed with the process on how to do these things. Those who are new to my channel, please subscribe so that whenever I have new topics to discuss, you will be notified. You might be needing this in the modules of your grandchildren, of your children, or if you are a student, then at least you will be given an idea on how to do the operations of these numbers. So thank you very much. Till next time. Bye-bye you.